there, my name's Miranda and welcome to another video. And today I'll be doing another Booktube tag. I really enjoy these, okay? I read somewhere, I think on Twitter, someone said that book tags are sort of dying out, but I still like them. So this tag was originally created by the Fire Project. I will leave the original video linked down below. So this tag consists of 16 questions, essentially about all the things you've read and stuff or characters, whatnot, about these books that just make you say, nope. Alright, so let's get started. Number 1, a nope ending. An ending that made you go nope either in rage, denial, or simply because it sucked. I know I'm not alone in this, but I absolutely hate the epilogue for The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I really like The Host, I think it's a great book, but it would have been a lot better if she had just not included the epilogue. I just never liked the epilogue for the book. I think where it ended before that was absolutely perfect. I don't think it needed that epilogue. Number 2, a nope protagonist. A main character you dislike and probably also drives you crazy. Alright, I have a feeling I'm going to mispronounce this character's name. I think it's pronounced Lyles? She's the main character from Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I'll put it to you this way, one of the biggest reasons I did not enjoy this book was because of the main character. I didn't like her constant descriptions of herself as wild or untamed. It was really overdone. She honestly just kind of pissed me off constantly, and it made reading the book so unenjoyable for me that I essentially just mildly started skipping sections of the book at one point, because I just didn't care. Especially whenever she got into a rant about how wild she was, as soon as I saw one of those come up, I immediately just skipped the end of it. Number 3, a nope series. Okay, this descriptor's long, so I'm just gonna read it off my notes. A series that turned out to be one huge pile of nope after you've invested all of that time and energy on it, or a series you gave up on because it wasn't worth it. So my pick for this was The Immortals by Alison Noel. To this day, I have only read the first 2 books, and that's Evermore and Blue Moon. I loved Evermore. Evermore I thought was fantastic. It should have stayed a standalone. It should never have gotten more books. Ever. No joke, I absolutely adored Evermore, got kind of excited when there were supposed to be more books, read Blue Moon, and I haven't touched the series since. I won't. I refuse. And it hurt me so much because I loved the first book so much, and that second book just made me go, nope, forget it. Not continuing with this, forget it. I won't say why I disliked the second book, I'll just say that there was a character that was introduced, and the twist in the end about this character was essentially what made me nope out of wanting to continue the series. Number 4 is a nope popular pairing, which is a ship you do not support. Oh, I have multiple across a few different fandoms. I've been complaining for months about the couples in the manga series Fairy Tail. Like, I won't stop complaining about a bunch of the couples in that. But for this video, I decided to use characters from a series I read this year. Spoilers for the Shadow and Bone trilogy, so if you don't want to hear it, skip until my hand is down. I do not like Elena and Mal from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Mal did not deserve her, Elena deserved a lot better. I didn't like Mal. I just did not like him. He wasn't very nice to Elena even though they were childhood friends. He was a little controlling of her in my opinion, and quite frankly, he was just a rude character who seemed to think that he had to be the hero for her, and according to him she couldn't take care of herself even though she showed she definitely could, and I do not like this pairing. I'm still very upset they ended up together. Technically, I don't know how popular the pairing is, but they're my pick. Number 5, a nope plot twist. A plot twist you didn't see coming or didn't like. So I'm gonna go with a plot twist I did not like. And that is the plot twist in The Wicked Thief by Shay Earnshaw. If you watched my August reading wrap-up, you know how much I really did not like it. That plot twist made absolutely no sense to me. I'm not going to say what it is in case you want to read the book, but I will say that when you get to it, it makes or breaks the book for you. And I'm just one of the people who did not like it at all. Number 6, a nope protagonist action or decision. A character decision that made you shake your head, nope. So the one I picked for this, and anyone who's read Torch Against the Night by Stop It to Here will know what I'm talking about when I say this, but what happens between Laya and Keenan. Like, I still think Laya's a little bit of an idiot for this. She has definitely redeemed herself in Reaper at the Gate, but I definitely, while reading Torch Against the Night, was just like, Lyra, you idiot, you absolute idiot. So that's my pick for this category. Number 7, a nope genre, a genre you'll never read. So I'm not gonna say never, but I will say I'm not particularly interested in Westerns. I'm just not. But who knows, maybe that'll change in like 20, 30 years or something. I will never say nope to reading almost anything, except for a couple things. Number 8, a nope book format. A book format you hate and avoid buying until a different edition comes out. Okay, so this isn't quite one I can avoid buying, but a pet peeve of mine is I do not like it when covers are changed midway through the series. All of a sudden my covers don't look very pretty together, and that just drives me nuts. I am looking specifically at you, Ember in the Ashes. I am still not happy about this cover change. I loved the original cover so much. And now they're just not gonna look as pretty anymore. When you're publishing a series, I feel like you should wait until the entire series is out before you consider a cover change, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 years down the road. But don't do it in the middle of you publishing the books in the series. It just makes people angry, and I'm not gonna go out and buy all new covers. I do not have that kind of money to just spend everything so that my books all look exactly the same. If I did, maybe I would, but half the time I don't like the cover changes. If I do, then I'll be willing to save up to give you all my money so I can get the new covers, but usually I end up liking the originals better. Number 9, a nope trope. A trope that makes you go, nope. Okay, so I don't know how common this trope is these days, but it was definitely very common when I was younger, and I personally find it kind of toxic because of how much it influenced me. And I don't really have a word for it, but I'm gonna call it the girl next door trope. I really hope this makes sense, but it's the trope of that girl who is almost anti-feminine. Like, she wears jeans and t-shirts and hoodies and ratty sneakers. Makeup is stupid to her. She's tough. She's like someone that when she gets to legal drinking age, she can go out for a beer with the guys. And that trope for me was rather harmful because it meant I spent so much of my younger years thinking I had to reject anything that was feminine in order to be considered cool, interesting, or even, in a strange sense, I guess, a protagonist in my own story. In my mind, guys didn't want the girly girl because she was usually the bad person in the story, so I had to be this other character if I wanted to be liked by essentially anyone. So I really don't like this trope. It's not as common I see these days. There's definitely now characters who can be tough and kick butt and they'll still wear like a sparkly pink dress. Thank you, Paranormal C. Thank you. But generally speaking, a lot of the books I read when I was definitely in junior high and earlier high school, they were books with that sort of main female character, and it influenced me almost too much. I'm not saying you can't have girls that are like, oh, I don't like makeup, I don't like dresses and whatnot, but the amount that there were so many years ago, it just, to me it was a little harmful because it meant that, at least for me and maybe for a few other people who read so many of those books, they decided that they couldn't like those things if they wanted to be liked. And that liking those things made you like the bad character who half the time was like the girly, popular girl cheerleader who is one hell of a bully, but at least her nails look fantastic. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's a trope I don't really like anymore. I prefer girls who know how to kick butt while in like heels and dresses and decide to have some wicked eyeliner. Number 10, a nope recommendation. A book rec that is constantly hyped and pushed at you that you simply refuse to read. Right, so it's really only one person who's been asking me to read this book, but I'm really not too keen on it, so I don't think I'm ever gonna do it. But that's The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I don't know, I just don't have much interest in reading it. It doesn't really sound like a book I'd be too interested in anymore, and it's just fallen off my radar for the most part. Like, maybe? Again, never say never, right? The only other series I can think of is the newer one by Cassandra Clare. That is, oh god, the Dark Artifice series, so like Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and the latest one that's just come out, Queen of Air and Darkness. I've heard it's really good, but after the last couple books in the Mortal Instruments series, I don't know. I just don't really think I'm much of a Cassandra Clare fan like I used to be. Taste change. Number 11, a nope, cliche, or pet peeve. Cliche writing pet peeve that makes you roll your eyes. Okay, so this makes me roll my eyes, but I'm not necessarily that mad about it, and I've kind of made a game of it now. And I'm gonna call it the, thanks to CinemaSins on YouTube, I'm going to call it the roll credits cliche. It's essentially where somewhere in the book, eventually there'll be something where a character says something or sees something that is the title of the book. It's not very common. I've only seen it a couple times. Sometimes it's really, really funny, but now and again it just makes me roll my eyes because it's kind of just stupid. I've made a game of it that whenever I find it, I take a photo and I send it to my friend and I tell her roll credits. And I'll let her know where it is in the book, so essentially it's like, this is where the book should maybe end. I don't know, it's just a silly little thing. I think it's weird and not really that necessary. But again, like I said, it's not super common, so I guess it's not really that much of a cliche. But if nothing else, it's mildly entertaining with how, like, stupid it is half the time. Number 12, a nope love interest. Love interest that's not worthy of being one, a character you don't think should be a viable love interest. So my pick for this is Liam from The Fairwick Chronicles by Juliet Dark. I hate Liam. I hate him. I just hate him. So again, this would be spoilers for the series, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say I hate Liam and he does not deserve to be a love interest, and I refuse to read the final book in this series. Why do I refuse to read the third book in the series? Well, those of you who have read the second book will understand. So I'm just going to leave it there. Liam from The Fairwick Chronicles by Juliet Dark did not deserve to be a love interest. At all. I don't care what anyone tells me about that last book. I will not read it. I refuse. Number 13, a nope book. A book that shouldn't have existed that made you say nope. So even the one book I hate the most in the world, like I will never forgive this book for what it put me through. I will never forgive my teacher for making me read it. I will never say I don't think it should have existed. I don't feel comfortable saying that a book shouldn't have existed because no matter how much I dislike a book, there are other people who do like it. It's the same with, I have books that I absolutely love that a lot of people don't care for. I'm never going to say a book never existed. Even my number one most hated book, it can still exist. Just don't bring it near me. Please. 14, a nope villain. Scary villain or antagonist you would hate to cross, it would make you run in the opposite direction. Oh, there are multiple. My number one right now, and that's just because they scared me a lot, and that's Athos and Astrid from A Darker Shade of Magic, because they were creepy. Yeah, no, if I ever met them, I think I would just collapse in a puddle of tears and I would know the end is come. Number 15, a nope death. A character death that still haunts you. Alright, my answer is just going to be all the deaths in Harry Potter, because I'm not going to give any spoilers. I personally know people who've never read Harry Potter, okay? The biggest Harry Potter death that still haunts me is the death in Book 5, Order of the Phoenix. So anyone who's read that book, you know who I'm talking about. I do not need to say anymore. And the final category, 16, nope author. An author you had a bad experience reading and decided to quit. Okay, so I sort of have two answers for this. However, I might be breaking my ban on both of them sometime in the future. One is Claudia Gray. I owned the first two books in her Evernight series. I read the first one, really just didn't like it that much, and thought, well, maybe I'll go back to it in a couple years, see if my feelings change. Looked on my shelf one day, like 2 or 3 years later, noticed I had the second book, and thought, why haven't I read this yet? Got about 5 or 6 chapters in and remembered why. I have refused to pick up a Claudia Gray book ever since. However, she has since written a YA Star Wars book about Princess Leia, and I kind of want to read it, but after my experience of Evernight, I'm a little scared. So I might be breaking my personal ban on her because I do really want to read this book. The other one, and I might get some hate for this, but I have a personal ban on Libba Bray. If this name sounds familiar, it's because she's the author of the Diviner series, which I refuse to read because of a previous book she wrote. So I read A Great and Terrible Beauty, I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. I read it long after its popularity, essentially. And I remember by the time I got to the end of this book, I went to a friend of mine and asked her to explain to me why she liked it so much. It wasn't even an insult. I literally just wanted to understand what the hype about this book was because I could not understand why people liked it. I couldn't. I have not read a Library book since, and I'm still not entirely keen on doing so. I've heard the Diviner series is absolutely phenomenal. I hear it on way too many booktube channels, and so many booktubers highly recommend it that I'm contemplating breaking my personal ban on her, but I just keep thinking back to A Great and Terrible Beauty, and I don't know if I can. But again, as I said a couple times, never say never. I might currently have personal bans on these authors, but eventually I might break down and decide I'll read their other works. But I might wait until they're not super popular. That way, if I do eventually decide to read it, I don't feel pressured to love it as much as so many other people seem to. So there you have it. Those are my answers for the Nope book tag. Yeah, there's not a lot of things I've disliked in a lot of books, but I've gotten really good at figuring out what I like and dislike in what I read, that there have been fewer and fewer books in the last while that I've been reading that I've been willing to give like 1 or 2 stars. Essentially, the only time I read books I really, really dislike these days is because a friend of mine will tell me to read it, and either A, I really don't like it, she likes it and doesn't understand why I don't, or she made me read it because she wants me to suffer with her. Yes, my friend has done this to me on multiple occasions. I have not entirely forgiven her for The Shadow Queen yet. But that's what friends for. Sometimes you just need someone to suffer with you, so you make them read it so they suffer too. To be fair, I've made her read a couple books that I'm pretty sure she hasn't quite forgiven me for either. So we're even. The only other time I think I've disliked a book that I read and was positive I would like was probably because my expectations of it were a little too high. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos by me, both bookish and travel related, please be sure to click that subscribe button down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye!